Saint Maud is Rose Glass's directorial debut and follows a nurse called Maud as she tries to save one of her patients' souls. And in the horror genre, we know probably not going to go to plan. So to kick things off, I want to talk about performances. Morfydd Clark, Jesus Christ, I've never heard of her, but she gives a performance here that is so subtle in how good it is. I've seen one running criticism with this film, and it's that her as an actor isn't compelling. But that's the point. When she's trying to save this woman, Amanda, she always says how lonely and boring she is and that she needs to loosen up. That is reflected by her performance. Glass wanted us to see her as this uncompelling, boring person whose only pastime is praying. It's done well. It's portrayed how she meant to be. If you're finding her uncompelling, good. That's what Glass wanted. The way this film is shot, it is mostly conventional, would be the way to put it. There are a few isolated shots and parts that are shot extremely well that had me in my seat kind of thinking, fucking hell, that is really, really unique. It's good. This film isn't very long. It comes in at about an hour 20 with credits. And again, I've seen people saying it's not long enough. Now, I can understand where they're coming from. I would have liked to see a longer film as well. But we have to take into account that this is Glass's debut. She wants to play it safe and make sure that what she puts out is good, and she achieved that. This film is easily the best horror film of 2020. There's not much competition, but it holds that title nonetheless. It is brilliant. This film did one thing probably as well as any film I've seen, and that is making you squirm. I have never been as uncomfortable sat in that chair watching a film than I was with Saint Maud. I couldn't physically sit still because of things that were happening. One genre that you can pin this to is body horror. There are quite a few instances of unpleasant things happening to people. There's one shot in the trailer, so this isn't a spoiler. She puts thumbtacks in the soles of her shoes and then proceeds to walk around in them. And was going to mention the sound design really helps with that. It is, again, it's extremely subtle. It's just there. Glass doesn't draw your attention to anything. She just shows it to you. And that is the way that most affects me. When I am just left to notice and deal with and watch things, I find it a lot easier to get invested. And with this, I was extremely invested to the point where I was literally squirming and putting my hands to my face because I did not like what was on the screen. Now, before we talked about this film's ending, I'm not going to go into detail because this is one you need to experience and not be told about. But there is a shot at the end. It's the last shot of the film. It lasts for all of 1 second. And from this shot you can infer one of two things. And whichever one you choose to infer will change your perspective of the film. This has a lot of rewatchability because of this. If you say you watched it through and you thought the first thing, okay, watch it a second time, but with the other thing in mind, so you think it ended the second way. It will completely change in terms of all manner of the word. It will change genre, it will change performances and how good they are. Ending one would mean the film is a supernatural horror. Ending two would make it a psychological drama. It is extremely difficult to get this kind of thing right, but in her debut, Rose Glass has done it. perfectly. There was no better way to do it than just showing it to you and just leaving you to decide. It's the best type of ending there is, personally, I think. I adore endings like that. Example, The Shining. If you watched the last video, you know how much I love The Shining. But yeah, all of it was just extremely well done. It's all just so subtle, shows it to you, and just goes. And by the end of it, I was sat in my seat for a good few minutes, just sat there processing what I'd just seen. Because honestly, I have not seen anything like that before. I'm going to give Saint Maud an A. I've been thinking the past couple of days, I think I'm going to switch to a weekly upload schedule every Friday or Saturday, because recently I found it quite easy just to get motivated and film something. So you can expect another video probably next Saturday. It'll likely be a review. I am working on another video essay, but that won't be out for at least a few weeks because it's going to be a much longer one than my Shining one was. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next Saturday.